My name is Larry Dorr, and I'm chair and curator in the Department of Botany. I've worked here for over 20 years. My research is focused on the flowering plant family Malvaceae. This family includes plants that provide us with chocolate and cola, two of the most important food groups in the American diet, and other familiar plants that are less edible, such as cotton. I'd like to argue that the old saying, "a picture's worth 1,000 words," is true, or at least in one instance, a single photo has led me to write a 1,000-word scientific manuscript. About 18 months ago, I was sent this picture. I received it via email on a weekend from a Dutch agronomist whom I had never met and from a country, Mozambique, that I'd never visited. At first, I was annoyed. It can be very difficult to identify Malvaceae from photographs because key details are often obscured. The plant was pretty, but honestly, at work, I look at plants that are not so pretty. They're pressed and dried, they've lost their color, and for the most part are unexciting to anybody except a botanist. When I was sent the picture, or why was I sent this picture? The simple answer is that I had published a treatment of related plants found to the north of Mozambique in Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda, which form the area that is covered by the flora of tropical East Africa. And the Mozambique plant could not be identified in this work nor in any other regional flora. So the suspicion was that it might be something new, and as the quote expert, I was being asked my opinion. I was tempted to respond to the Dutch agronomist in Mozambique with, quote, "sorry, I cannot help," but I kept thinking that I had seen this plant or something similar before. The following Monday, it dawned on me. I realized I had been sent a picture of the first species found on the African continent of either genus Helmiopsis or Helmiopsiella that were thought to be restricted to Madagascar. This is Helmiopsiella poissonii from Madagascar. This is not the Mozambique plant. And I should make a little confession here that I am familiar, or I was familiar with Madagascar, because before I came to the Smithsonian, I had lived and traveled throughout the island for 3 years. The Mozambique plant was clearly a new species, but my identification job was not finished until I could assign it to the correct genus. Morphologically, I could tell the Malvaceae genera and the new species shared some interesting characters, such as the unusual style and stigma in the center of the flower, and fertile stamens producing pollen alternating with 5 sterile staminodes. Another character that united them was that they had wings on their seeds. This character is difficult to see, but in the center left of this illustration of a species from Madagascar, there's a section of a fruit that shows winged seeds. The characters separating Helmiopsis and Helmiopsiella, the Malvaceae genera, proved to be nebulous, and I convinced myself quickly that the two genera should be combined or synonymized. However, earlier studies with which I was familiar informed me that these Malvaceae genera formed a group or a clade with an Asian genus called Eriolaena, and this is a picture of Eriolaena candolii. All 3 genera have winged seeds in similar styles and stigmas, but Eriolaena does not have staminodes. All of its stamens are fertile. Morphology, anatomy, and pollen had helped me identify the relatives of this new species, but were these 3 genera related, and where could I place this new species? Collaborating with a fellow curator in botany, we extracted DNA from the new species and representatives of the other genera. We used nucleoribosomal ITS and several plastid genes. The sequences were aligned and then analyzed. The result is that this newly generated molecular data support morphological, anatomical, and palynological observations. The 3 genera are very closely related and probably best treated as a single genus. Eriolaena is the oldest name, and the new species and the Malvaceae species will be placed there. This hypothesis of relationships based on molecular data shows 2 subclades, but the support for uniting them is very strong, and they are clearly separated from other closely related genera of Malvaceae that are not shown in this particular illustration. Because Madagascar is an island, and because its flora has evolved in isolation for the most part, there's a tendency to consider every new plant encountered there to be endemic. I had long known the relationship between the Asian species and the Malvaceae ones discussed here. No one knew that Africa was part of this particular puzzle until I received that photograph. The chance receipt of a photo forced me to reconsider the nature of the relationship of three genera. This matters to botanists interested in the evolution of the Malvaceae flora and their colleagues interested in the African and Asian floras as well. We do know that Madagascar and India separated about 85 to 95 million years ago, and there are other examples of closely related plants found around the periphery of the Indian Ocean. Whether or not this example is one of an ancient distribution or a more recent one has not yet been determined. Thank you. I recently wrote a little essay about this. I was seduced by an herbarium. I was going to school in St. Louis at Washington University, and for a variety of reasons, I was introduced to the Missouri Botanical Garden, and I just fell in love with the concept, and more importantly than the physical collection, it was the excitement that the students and the visitors and the people giving talks generated that induced me to go into botany.